Hi, everyone. Welcome back to So You Want to Buy a Home. As you know, my name's Aden Harper. I'm a realtor in my first time home buying journey.
Yep.
Uh, and this is episode 5, I think. Something like that.
Yeah.
Last week we covered credit, saving for a down payment,
hmm
choosing the right mortgage. And now we're talking about the fun stuff, house hunting.
Yeah, that was a lot more fun. Um, and hey, house hunting is more than just scrolling through Zillow. There's strategy behind it. You want to make sure you're making a smart purchase and have a good game plan with your agent going into it. So we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I mean, house hunting can be really exciting, but as realtors, we know that it's more about the way the home. It's more than just about the way the home looks, and there's a few important things that you also got to take into consideration, and we're going to cover those today. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with our first talking point. So, we as realtors see a lot of first-time home buyers make some pretty big mistakes when searching for a home.
Mhm.
So let's go over the biggest ones and how you can avoid them.
Yeah, I wrote these out. We'll put them on the screen as well. But I think number one is falling in love with the home before you get pre-approved. I've seen it happen a lot, and I hate to see it with buyers, that disappointment when you find a house that you think you can afford and you fall in love with it and you find out you can't. On the flip side, I've seen plenty of scenarios where you didn't know you could afford the house you wanted, and somebody else bought it because you weren't in position. So I think that's number one. The second one I noted is ignoring the total cost of home ownership. In our last video, we talked about when it comes to a house payment, it's made up of 4 parts: your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. But you also need to factor in your electricity bill, if you have a large yard or a pool, maintenance for those things. So understanding your entire commitment monthly. And then the third item, I think, is rushing into a home just because it looks good. I think in this day and age, almost every house looks good online. But even the homes that look amazing oftentimes have sometimes small, sometimes big issues once you get into doing inspections. So yeah, those are the 3 things. I think falling in love without a pre-approval, ignoring the total cost of home ownership, and rushing into something just because it looks good without really knowing what you're getting into.
Yeah. One more mistake I would like to add myself is not thinking long term. Your first home should fit your future as much as it fits your present. So,
Yeah. Yep.
we like to tell our clients, I think maybe 5-10 years ahead when you're choosing your home.
Yeah, it's always smart. I mean,
Yeah.
even if you're in the home only 2 to 3 years, having that plan up front just in case something changes and you're there longer than you thought, always a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about creating your home search plan. Aiden, you're an agent. You work with buyers all the time. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, we always like to say, before you look at a single house, make a game plan. And what that could look like. We've written down 4 things. So the first one is figure out your budget. What is your maximum purchase price? And if you're financing, which you most likely are if you're a first time buyer, think about what you're willing to pay monthly. The second thing is must-haves. How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Do you want a big backyard, a pool? Maybe not a pool if you're trying to get something cheap right now. But
Yeah.
number 3 is location preference. How close is it to your job? What's your commute time like? How are the schools in the area? Do you prefer an area that's a little more walkable? And number 4 is deal breakers. Think of some things that are just some absolute no-goes for you.
Yeah, those are all good. I think the important thing with those is it stops you from getting distracted by a home that doesn't fit your needs. One thing I would add that I've seen a lot of success with is when you're setting up a search is set up 2. Set up one that includes just any and all homes, kind of like a vague search, and then set up one that's real specific, like just detailed down to the needs. I've always found there's pretty good success with that.
Yeah. We like to tell our clients to separate the wants from needs as well. You might want that home theater, but do you really need it?
Yeah.
Probably not. All right. So next, let's talk about where to actually find some homes. We see that a lot of our clients, they love to start online. They love scrolling through Zillow. But Not all listings are the same.
Yeah. Uh, I think so. A couple places. Obviously, the multiple listing service is far better than any app that you will use. It is, and for the reason that it is the most up to date. Um, Certain apps people use can be a little delayed. So if you're in a hot market or if there's a good property that's going to move fast, that information might be dated. So the Zillows, Redfins, Realtor.coms, I personally love. I think they're the easiest thing to look at. They're the quickest thing to look at. I think aesthetically they look the best. Um, Great for browsing, but again, may not always be the most accurate, but certainly good place to go. New communities, and not all new communities have like photos or videos online. So I think, as agents, we tour a lot of new communities. So, maybe if you're working with an agent, look at the communities they're touring. You might be surprised sometimes you see a new construction house online that doesn't look appealing, and then you see the video and it's like, dang, that's something I'd like to live in. But the fourth one that I wrote down is off market and pocket listings. And this is where hiring an agent who has a good network is really important, because like for us, we're a part of some pretty big networks where, we see quite a few listings that are coming to market a week, 2 weeks, sometimes almost a month in advance. And these aren't posted in the MLS. They're not posted on Zillow. They could just be, like in a networking group we're a part of. It could be internally at your brokerage. So make sure when hiring an agent, they have a good game plan for off-market listings, because there are a lot of deals that happen either before or right when the home hits the market. And if you're only waiting for it to hit Zillow, you may be a little too late.
Yep. That is where having a good agent makes a difference.
Yeah.
All right, next step. So I found a home that I like.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do next?
I'm all about checklists. So I made a checklist here for that question.
Another one?
Another one. Live and die by a checklist. Number one, check the neighborhood first. So drive by in the morning, midday, afternoon, evening if you can. You'd be surprised. Like when school gets out, you may not know, if you're only going late in the day, that, maybe there's a lot of traffic you don't want to deal with. So I think driving the neighborhood first is important. Looking beyond staging is something I noted. There's a lot of homes that aesthetically look great online and they look great when you walk in. And that's exciting, right? But you got to look past that, because not oftentimes, every time there's going to be something that you're going to find once you start digging deeper. The next one is kind of ties in with inspections, but really making sure no house is perfect. I don't care if it's brand new construction, if it's been renovated. I always encourage people to really focus on the major systems like the roof, AC, the heater, plumbing, electrical, foundation. Those are the big ticket items that could really ruin your budget. And then the last two I put was, this one might sound funny, but smell for problems. I hate to say it, but a lot of times when there's like a ton of candles and a ton of like scented things going on in a house, not always, but oftentimes it's maybe to mask that smell in the carpet or a mildew smell. So watch out for that. And then the last one I noted was ask about repairs and maintenance. What we found is the homes that our clients that we're selling have maintained over the years. And I'm not talking about just, hey, we're about to sell, so we're going to do, a couple things to fix it up to make it look aesthetically appealing. Look for like service records for the AC unit, service records for the heater, service records for the pool equipment. Again, with the homes, and from the homes we've sold, the people who tend to have those service records and are constantly maintaining those things, it's just the less issues that come up on the inspection report. So I think that's a big one, and honestly, that's one not a lot of people ask for. service records.
Yeah. Kind of a bonus one too is check out like the flow of the home and does it work for your daily life? You know, if you're like a young couple, you know, haven't really started a family yet, maybe a 4 bedroom, 3 bathroom wouldn't be like you know, the best option for you at that moment. You know, so just bring a checklist so you don't forget things while you're caught up in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so last bullet point. I've gone through all my checklists, you know, and I found a home that I absolutely love. Uh, how do I go about writing an offer that actually gets accepted?
Um, yeah, I think in order to make a strong offer, the first thing is you have to know the current market conditions, not just for that neighborhood, but overall. As a listing agent, I've seen deals on almost $1 million homes won or lost by as little as literally like 500 to 700 bucks. So really understanding your market as an agent and as a buyer, when you're interviewing agents, really making sure your agent understands the market. Let me tell you, it sucks when you see a house close that was like $1,000 more than what you offered, knowing that you would have made that offer. And I've seen agents where they make that recommendation, hey, let's offer this, just because they weren't really in tune with the current market. So knowing the market is huge. Number two is making an offer based on data. Um, you know, again, depending on the market, that might look different, but just, one example with that is not being emotionally attached to the house when making an offer. If somebody is grossly overpriced and they've been sitting, even if they accept your offer, if it doesn't appraise, that deal might fall through. And that's kind of heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. So make your offer based on actual data, right? Now, on the flip side, you may be in a market where homes are overbidding. Having an agent who understands what that looks like as well. So you have a good idea of, hey, this seller underpriced a little bit. We know it's probably going to overbid by 2%, 3%, whatever that number is. Again, know your data, and make an offer based on that. Be smart with your contingencies. You don't want to give an offer to a seller that has too many that are unnecessary. You do want to protect yourself, make sure that you have an appraisal, loan contingency, inspection. But as a listing agent, sometimes I get offers that have so many contingencies that are unnecessary that it's a turnoff to the seller. So be strategic with that as well. And the last one is just be ready to negotiate. Don't be afraid to go back and forth. Understand that just as you have a certain goal in mind, the seller's going to have a certain goal in mind. Don't be offended. Don't take it personal when they're countering you, and there's certain things in your offer that they may not initially like. It's a back and forth game, and you got to be willing to play it.
Yep. And again, this is where having a good agent just comes into play. We like to help our clients structure their offers strategically so they're not overbidding, but they're also still making a competitive offer.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, that concludes this episode. This episode was packed with lots of good info.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of you probably get excited about the house hunting process, which definitely is the most fun if you're a buyer. Yeah, but now you know how to do it the right way. Drop a comment below. What are your must-haves in a house? And so join us next week for episode 6. We'll be talking about making an offer, negotiating like a pro.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.